Hello everyone, it's Reiki here. Today I'm going to talk about books that inspire me as a Reiki teacher and practitioner. So some of you may know that I also teach Reiki, apart from being a writer. And I have many books that I have collected and used over the years, both in my practice and in my teaching. And I thought I'll put them all together and share with anybody who's interested. So I have been practicing Reiki for many years. I had my first treatment in 1999 and I started studying Reiki, if you can call it studying, in 2002, I think. Got my first Reiki one. So it's been a long time. So my books are, of course, also mature books, older books that have been around. So I'm going to give you talk about the first book that I find that even today I still use a lot. And it's called The Spirit of Reiki. That's how it looks. Very, very nice little book. It was written, let's see when it was published. Oh yeah, it was first published in 2001 and the second print was in 2002. And I really like this book because it came out when Reiki was still a little bit more simple than it is today, with so many new developments in it. And not so much was known about it really. So this book is written by three people who at that time were very prominent. Some of them are still known today, but they were really prominent in those days. And it was Walter Lübeck, Frank Aryava Petter, and William Lee Rand. You might recognize these names if you are into Reiki. And they came together and wrote this book. And they did a lot of research. They went to Japan and traveled and tried to find out basically what Reiki is in the history and teachings and everything of that. So really, really interesting book, The Spirit of Reiki. I've used it over the years so much. The second book I want to talk about is a book I really love. Love this book so much. And it's called Living the Reiki Way, Traditional Principles for Living Today by Penelope Quest. And this book is just so gentle. So Reiki has these principles they're not religious. They're just ideas that you can use to live your life by. Focuses on kindness and gratitude and working with emotions like anger and fear or anxiety, those kind of things. And this book describes all of that so beautifully. I don't know if it's still in print, but I can completely recommend this book. If you just want something simple, you don't have to even be into Reiki to like this book. It's amazing. And then some years ago, I did an online course with this lady called Sharon Skura Ehlers. And the book is called Grief Reiki. And it really is, it was such a good course, and it had this workbook with it. And really, really good book. You don't need to do the course to do the book, right? It talks about how we work with grief, how we deal with grief. And again, you don't need to be a Reiki. I don't think you need to be a Reiki practitioner necessarily to work with this because it takes you through lots of activities and meditations. And it really is an amazing book. It has practical tips, activities, meditations, and resources. Very, very good. I totally recommend if you, we all have something that we've lost, right? Or someone that we've lost. And it's hard sometimes to work through those things. And this book is really good for that. And then I have a book which is called Hands-on Healing for Pets by Margaret Coates. Also written quite a long time ago. I like old books, you guys know that whenever I talk. This book is so useful because I love working with animals. And this is not a Reiki. It just says The Animal Lover's Essential Guide to Using Healing Energy. It's a book about helping your animals to feel better, basically. And it takes different types of animals, dogs, cats, birds, horses, and it works through how you can help them when they are sick, to maybe just make them more comfortable, right? And it has lots of images in the book, and you can see how much I've worked on this, worked in here. It's highlighted, and where and how, and just very, very useful book. The next book is books are a little bit more technical or scientific, or goes a little bit more deep. And the first one's called The Vibrational Medicine by Richard Gerber, the #1 handbook for subtle energy therapies. And this person that wrote it, Richard Gerber, he's both a medical doctor and work with subtle energy system. So it's a very, very technical book. It has loads of writing, but it is an interesting book if you're interested in how vibrational medicine works. And if you want to read something and you've got lots of time, that's a really recommended book from me. And then another one is by, there's two of her, Barbara Ann Brennan. Some time ago, she was, everybody had a book of hers if they were into energy work, and it's called Hands of Light, A Guide to Healing Through the Human Energy Field. That's the first one. And the second one is Light Emerging, The Journey of Personal Healing. Now, the one I found most helpful was the Hands of Light. And I have worked through this one as well a lot of work I've done on this book. It also has some, imagery. It's all about the human energy field. It's not Reiki, it's Hands of Light. So it's a different modality, but it also talks about energy work and energy healing. So I really thought this book was really good to find ideas on and thoughts of other people, how other people do things. And then another book. So I think Reiki works really well if you use other things with it. So for me, Reiki is not necessarily so much always about the physical healing. It's more working with the emotions and the mind, the mental state of people. And for that, I use a lot of I've read and studied a lot of other things that can work together with that. And one of them is that I work quite a bit with the chakras. And this book is called Eastern Body, Western Mind, Psychology and the Chakra System as a Path to Self. And it was written by Anodea Judith. And it's a book that's also been around forever. I think a lot of people will know this book. And it mixes the Eastern philosophy or ideas with Western, and it brings the two together. And it's such a good book, Western psychology with Eastern vibes. And amazing book. It talks about the development of humans from when they were born until they die, the different ages, how it relates to the chakras, how each chakra, how it works, where it sits in the body, what it's used for, all of those things. This book is just a must-have if you are into working with chakras. And then I have a whole bunch of books about Buddhism, because my belief system is more from a Buddhist perspective. So when I use Reiki or anything really in my life, I come from that approach. So I find that because I like to use Reiki with, or channel Reiki with, for emotional and mental healing more than physical, a lot of the Buddhist principles really work well, and I study a lot of those things that I can use in combination with Reiki. So I have quite a few books here about emotions and how to work with emotions. So the first one is called Emotional Rescue: How to Work with Your Emotions to Transform Hurt and Confusion into Energy That Empowers You, and it's written by Dorchen Ponlop. Fantastic book. Fantastic book if you want to work with your emotions. It has so many exercises, tips, practical things in it, explaining emotions, how to work with them. It's a fantastic book. So totally recommend that book. And then I also have a book that is more a conversation style between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Paul Ekman, who's a psychologist. And it's called Emotional Awareness. That's how it looks. Such a good book. This book, it talks about, it has the East and West literally talking to one another. And these two minds have been meeting up for they've known each other for a while. And they had meetings, Paul Ekman and Dalai Lama, and they discuss certain areas of emotions and how we see it in the West, and how the Dalai Lama explains how it's coming from a Tibetan Buddhist perspective. And then these two, how they disagree with things and how they agree. But the disagreements are it's not like the disagreements today when everybody's shouting at each other and I'm right. They have such respect for each other's approaches, which is really, that's also a part of the book that I really like. So wonderful, wonderful book if you're into working with emotions or just want to learn about your own emotions. Then another book is called Peaceful Heart, The Buddhist Practice of Patience by Tsingar Control. Another book about, you can see, I always work with patience. I need to work with patience a lot. Really, really good book. This, I also can just recommend it. It's, again, practical, simple language, really easy to understand. So all these books work with emotions and the mind and, understanding yourself, because we all want to try and do that. Or I wouldn't necessarily say it's understanding yourself, it's maybe more accepting yourself as who you are. Because, we change all the time. So we will reach a point where we understand ourselves and then next week we've changed again. So I think it's more of accepting who you are and where you are and just, try to live a good life. So the next one's written by my Buddhist teacher, Pema Chodron, and it's called Welcoming the Unwelcome. And there's just no words for Pema Chodron. She's just an amazing teacher. And I really love this book because she talks a lot about when things happen that we just, that's hard for us and we struggle with, and how to come to terms with those things. And this is just a simple book. Did I say wholehearted living in a broken-hearted world? That sums it up. And then the next few books. As with many, how shall I say this? With many cultures, that's the word I was looking for. With many cultures, there are specific beliefs that are relating to those cultures. And in Tibet, they also have shamanism, which we don't hear so much about in the West. But there is one person that I found years ago, and he's done quite a lot of writing about Tibetan shamanism, and I find it really interesting because I work with healing. And his name is Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche. And the book that I first read that was written by him was called The True Source of Healing: How the Ancient Tibetan Practice of Soul Retrieval can Transform and Enrich Your Life. So that is the book cover. And wow, amazing. He talks about, he lives in California, and he talks about how we can use nature, how we have removed ourselves. The more we remove ourselves from nature, the more unbalanced we become, and how we can work with nature to find more balance in our lives. Nature and also the elements that's in nature and around us, and how we can identify these elements and realize that some of them we might need a bit more of and others a bit less of. Like, we might have too much water in our lives, like meaning that we just flow, because water flows, right? And we go too much with the flow instead of, sometimes you need to be a bit more solid, and then you need to bring in the earth element. You might need to be maybe a bit more stand firm kind of an idea rather than go too much flow, So it really is a great book about that. And the second book from him is called Healing with Form, Energy and Light: The 5 Elements in Tibetan Shamanism, Tantra and Dzogchen. And both these books are really good, but if you want to start with him, I would recommend this one first. So very, very, very good books. 2 more to go. This one is called The Healing Buddha by Raoul Birnbaum. And so there are different Buddhas, right? There's not just one Buddha. And this book is about the Buddha of healing. And it discusses how healing, the practice of healing in Buddhism, not just Tibetan Buddhism, but across the board of Buddhism, different styles of Buddhism, and how it developed over time. Really interesting book, really, really good book. And the final book is what I would call my Buddhist Bible. It is called Joyful Path of Good Fortune. Very positive title and light title, but it's quite a serious book. It's written by Geshe Kelsang Gaitso, and it's called The Complete Buddhist Path to Enlightenment. And this book, it just really covers. I've had it for years, and it just covers every aspect of the Buddhist teachings, the whole spectrum of Buddhism, especially from a Tibetan standpoint, which is what I'm most interested in. A complete guide to the essential teaching of Buddha. So step-by-step guidance on all the meditation teachings to full enlightenment, practical methods for transforming our life and finding lasting peace and happiness. So it's a chunker, but it's good. I've worked with this book. I think I got this book I bought it. Yeah, I bought it when I was still living in Cape Town in 1999. So I've had it for a long time. It's followed me all across the world. So really good book. So I hope this was interesting for you. Yeah, I hope you found it useful, and I wish for you a beautiful day. And thank you so much for listening. Bye. See you next time.